Imagine your job is to kill people, and one day your target is you. That's the setup for Looper, a gritty, brain twisting sci fi where time travel meets straight up chaos. Today we're breaking down everything the action, the weird time rules, Bruce Willis versus Joseph Gordon Levitt, and whether this movie actually makes sense or just feels like it does. Strap in, this one gets messy. Corey Jones, shout out, man. I haven't seen this movie in, well, like I said, it says right here it came out in 2012.
Yes, sir.
So yeah, it's been since 2012. I remember I've seen it, but I didn't remember really the story. And I'm so glad you picked this movie. This movie was awesome. I had a fun time watching it. How about you guys?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
man.
thought
It
I thought it
was
was incredible.
yeah, epic. I'm surprised. I've seen it once before, kind of like you, Colby. I probably haven't seen this film since it came out. I know I didn't see it in theaters, um, but I'm kind of shocked at how little I remembered of it. Like this time around, it was like watching it almost for the first time again
Yeah,
because it's been that long. So, really great pick.
yeah. Like three times during it, I was like, why have I only watched this one time? This
Mhm.
this movie is
Mhm.
awesome.
Yeah.
I picked it up on DVD when it first came out, and I watched it one time. I own it, and I watched it one time, and I thought the same exact thing. I was like, "This movie's incredible. I don't know why I have never given it another chance." I think I watched it when it first came out, and I thought that it was pretty good. But then I watch it now, I think, "Well, this fucking might be a masterpiece. This is so good."
Hmm.
Yeah. I remember, my wife and I, we had just started dating and we went and saw this in theaters. And I just remember looking at her and saying that was absolutely amazing. But then again, rewatching it now, I have so much more respect for it. But the story alone is just freaking cool just to think about the time traveling and, closing your own loop. It was so much better the second time you watch it through after like, just a long period of time because you do appreciate it so much more.
Yeah, maybe we were
Yeah.
just too young to really appreciate what this movie is.
And I'm
Mhm.
curious what movies came out at around the same time as this movie. I might have been burned out on, like, sci-fi movies or something and didn't appreciate it the way that I should have.
It's funny you say that because I was trying to remember. I'm like, how do I not remember this movie? Like seeing it now, say, no comments, no notes. It's so good. Uh, the only thing I can personally think of around that time, it was either we were getting a lot of like Bruce Willis, Jason Statham, just action movies. And to be fair, this movie kind of almost tricks the audience. So I can't even remember what the trailer was, but I'm sure the trailer didn't touch on a lot of the elements because at first when the movie kind of kicks off and you get the whole time travel element, my brain immediately went to was it 12 Monkeys with Brad
Mhm.
Pitt?
Yep.
Yeah. So 12 Monkeys esque, and then later on, like we talked about earlier, like Akira
Mhm.
elements. It's totally its own thing. I mean, it has elements of other movies in it. Obviously, maybe even like love letters to those other movies, but I'm kind of like you. I'm like, how the only thing I can think is maybe we were just kind of burned out with the action flick that it was advertised as. There was a lot of, I mean, Oblivion, the Tom Cruise film came out around that time. So,
I'm glad
yeah.
you said that. This is what released in 2012. That probably why this kind of snuck into the background. We had Avengers come out in 2012. Uh,
Oh,
Mm,
we had Skyfall, The Dark Knight Rises, The
mm,
Hobbit, Unexpected Journey, and on top of that, we had the Amazing Spider-Man come out, and then Twilight Breaking Dawn Part Two. So huge box
yeah.
office movies came
Bangers.
out, and this kind of got put into the background because all these big hits dropped that year.
Nothing, resets your timeline, like hearing about what other movies came out at the same time.
yeah.
Like, I was like,
Yeah,
"Avengers came out then? That's wild to me."
Yeah.
Uh, like,
14.
what's, Winter Soldier? that's 12 years old today. It's wild to me.
No way.
That is
Yeah.
wild.
We getting old, boys.
Yeah.
Damn it.
But
Look,
you said 12
look,
Monkeys. I wrote that in here too. I was like, well, this is the second, as all I can, at least I can think of. It's the second time travel film that Bruce Willis was in. I love 12
Mhm.
Monkeys, by the way.
Yeah, it's a great film.
I haven't seen that in so long. I honestly don't
Yeah,
even
I
remember.
haven't seen that movie, Jesse, since you lived in your little shed.
My shack. Yeah.
Yeah. It's been a long time since I've seen that movie.
That was my Brad Pitt era. I used to buy all the Brad Pitt movies. That was
Yeah.
like my favorite dude. It was because of Fight Club and Seven came out at like the same time.
Yeah.
And
Hell
I had
yeah.
watched those and I was like, is Brad Pitt the greatest actor of all time?
I mean, I used to do the same thing with Jackie Chan films.
Yeah.
Every new Jackie Chan movie that I didn't own and I saw it on a DVD shelf, I'm like, you're coming home with me.
Yeah.
Mm.
At least my
That was
family
great.
knew what to always get me for
Great.
Christmas.
But yeah, starting off, I mean, it opens up just crazy. You're like, what the fuck is going on? He's checking his badass pocket watch. I need to start carrying a pocket watch.
Yeah.
That shit's dope as hell.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like 5 seconds later, just this guy appears, and as soon as he appears, what's the gun called?
A blunderbuss.
Underbust.
So dope, just blasts him to oblivion. You just see the body fly. Cuts the shirt open. Of course, there's payment there, silver bars. Super cool.
And I love the background how he's talking about it. He's just like, listen, time travel hasn't been invented, but in 30 years it does. And he's talking about how hard it is to dispose of a body in the future because I believe he said everyone's tagged, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Everyone's tagged and when it comes to that, so they drop them back in here. At least these mob bosses, they can pretty much control the time travel portion. So they contract these guys out to take them out. And I love that background and just flat out talking about it immediately.
Yeah, and how awesome is it to see Joseph Gordon-Levitt? Like anytime, I remember this was probably one of the first movies that I saw him in and thought, well, he made it. You know what I mean? Like I
Mhm.
think of Third Rock from the Sun, and then
Yeah.
right after that, Halloween H2O, and I was
Mhm.
like, then what was that one with
Uh,
the hot chick, 500 Days of Summer?
Yep.
And
and
but then I was like, "Oh, he's just doing indie movies." And then I see him in this movie, and then how good is his makeup? He looks just like a young Bruce Willis to me.
Yeah.
yeah.
It's so
I
good.
thought he looked weird. It took me a second to really adjust to it.
There
Like I
I
there's
was like,
mean, yeah,
there's parts where you are like, oh man,
yeah,
yep,
that looks weird. Like, is that like a
Yeah.
stunt double or something? Like,
yeah, like
exactly. Yep.
uncanny looking, but yeah. But
it's.
then he, but
I was gonna say, speaking of like the cast in this movie is like so good. You got Bruce Willis, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, Emily Blunt. Hello.
Mhm.
Um,
Mhm.
and then this stud right here, Paul Dano. Dano.
yeah,
Oh,
Paul Dano, dude, I
Yeah.
was so surprised to
Paul
see
He
him.
Dano is
he needs to
amazing.
be in more films. I know I say that
Oh,
like
definitely.
on every
Yeah.
podcast of someone I like, but he's actually I think too good for Hollywood. And I don't mean like, oh, I'm too good. I mean he's like
No,
his skill
he's
level is too good to
Well,
where they won't hire him or something cuz
Yeah,
I mean, recently he was getting I can't remember who was talking shit about him, but
Tarantino.
Tarantino.
what?
thank you. And like I'm just like, yeah, Quentin Tarantino was talking shit about him, saying he wasn't a good actor, and like he's amazing.
He is so
An
good.
absolute like he's got such range. It's insane. Like I think the
I
first time I
mean,
saw him was
There Will
the
Be
girl next
Blood.
door.
Mhm.
The first time I saw him was the girl next door, and his name was
Oh, dude. He's a
oh my god,
creep in
it's
that.
like Giz or something like that. But yeah,
I
he was fantastic in
No,
that movie.
he is
He's
great in
and then more
everything.
I
more
remember him
recently in
from
Batman.
what was the movie about the spelling bee, Little Miss Sunshine?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was the first time I saw him, and I didn't really think too much of him. But then as time has gone on, he's really like he's super to me. He's a super interesting actor.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And you brought up There Will Be Blood. That's one of my favorite films. And
I mean,
yeah,
yeah, he's such a sleaze in that one.
Yeah, this movie also has what's his name? Noah? Noah
Segan?
Sagan?
Sagan? Yeah.
Sagan. Yep.
Yeah.
Hmm.
What's he
I
from?
like him because he was in a bunch of indie horror films that I liked when I was growing up, and so it's pretty cool. I don't think I recognized him when I in 2012, but he was like in Dead Girl and a bunch of other ones, Cabin Fever 2, I think,
Mhm.
and he always stuck out to me. And so to see him in like to me a big budget movie and not just an indie horror film, nothing against those, but pretty sweet. And he plays such kind of like a little weasel,
Yeah.
but I kind of like him, you know.
Hmm.
Mhm.
And then not to mention Mr. Jeff Daniels, the GOAT, man.
The goat,
Yeah.
yeah.
Dude, yeah,
I
another
gotta throw
actor
in.
with such great range. Hmm.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I gotta
Um,
throw in as well. Garrett Dillahunt. I'm not sure
Which
if you
one's
guys
that?
remember him. He
Yes,
was
dude. Yes,
Oh, he
he
what's
played
is
the
he
thing?
Jesse.
is
Raising Hope.
yeah,
Yeah,
Raising Hope. He's been in a couple like other films, and every single time I see him, I'm happy to see him. Like he's one of those actors like I truly enjoy seeing on the screen
yeah.
because he can be funny, he can be serious, everything. Like he's got that
He
range too.
he was scary. He was scary
Yeah.
in this role, and I keep expecting him, for his character from Raising Hope. I'm like, oh, like you're so mean now. What
Yeah.
happened?
'Cause
But yeah,
he's so good at doing comedies.
I mean, really, just a stacked freaking cast all around. And let's see. So yeah, like we said, it kind of opens up. The dude with the in the first scene, guy's got a bag over his head right when he first appears, and old Joseph Gordon-Levitt blasts him with his boomstick, and like you said, Kobe, we kind of see that there's his payment. They send these targets back in time with silver bars strapped to them for payment for the assassination. Um, and does he go back to his apartment? Is that where we kind of see him putting his stash away after he
yeah.
finishes the first job?
Yeah, well,
He
he goes to the restaurant, the diner first and talks to Beatrix, and then
That's
he
right.
cashes silver bars for some cash, and then he goes to his apartment.
And around that time, before I think when they're headed to their apartment, is that where we see Paul Dano for the first time? And he's doing the
In the street.
TK floating a coin telekinetic thing.
Mm-hmm.
mm,
Mm-hmm.
Well, no, the first time we see him, he's in the street and he guns down that dude. And so the guy walks next to me. He's like, "Keep talking. I'm gonna take this blunderbuss and fucking," just starts going at him. Like, hey, like that just oh my god, it just cracked me up.
And then we see a smoking hot lady. I think too. I just wrote smoking hot lady. I don't remember what point that is, but
That's when they're going into the club, and it's
Mhm.
basically Joseph Gordon-Levitt's. Not even. It's at this stage in his life. I get the vibe from him that it's not only is he rock bottom as far as being addicted to drugs, like he's clearly self-absorbed. Even Jeff Daniels, when we meet him, comments about his tie. How he,
Mhm.
you're just keeping it around. That's an old fashioned. Like, why do you do that? And his response is, "Well, style." So I mean, he's clearly just a young, dumb, living in his own world kid. Um, and he's that dude in the military that they literally brief us on not getting attached to strippers on base, and he's that dude that fell in love with a stripper,
Mhm.
and he's just chasing her around. And what did she say? She's like, uh you got,
She's
because
already
he's like, you got time for a private show, and she's basically gives him the whole, no, I'm working right now, I gotta work. She's
yeah, she
already
got
yep.
booked for the night.
booked for the night. Yep. And I
And
gotta say, like
then
you're talking about his style, like I love that style. It's a clean look. Kind of reminds me of greasers slash kind of like how Harrison Ford used to dress back in the day with his
Hmm.
tie and leather jacket over everything. Like I like that look. It's clean.
mhm.
Hmm.
And then somewhere around here, they end up talking about the premise of what being a looper is.
Yes,
A
because
looper,
dudes are celebrating.
and then they also mention like was it telekinesis or like you can float?
Yeah, TK.
Yeah.
Mhm.
TK.
So it's very short, and I was a little like confused by that. I was like, like, where's this coming into play? Because it doesn't show a whole lot at first
Yeah.
Mhm.
until later you figure out.
I was the same way. I thought it must have just been some kind of world building. Like they
Yeah,
were just like, "Oh, this world has TK," and I was like, "Okay."
and
And
Yeah.
then
I was
it
thinking
it
that
really
too.
yeah, and it doesn't do anything for
Y-
quite a while. Then it comes back into play.
Uh-huh, and I was like, why would they add this in? Like, oh yeah, some guys can float quarters, and I was like, okay, that's cool, I
Cool.
guess.
Yeah.
But
I thought the same thing. It was such a small detail, you almost miss it. And in fact, I did all the way up. I mean, I saw the dude at the beginning floating the quarter, and they said TK, and it didn't really click
Mhm.
until we get to Emily Blunt's character. I'm like, oh, like telekinesis, of course. Like,
Hmm.
but again, just one thing this movie does brilliantly, where at least from what I remember from the trailers originally, it's kind of advertised as a time travel action flick. There was no indication that there was psychic abilities and people with these powers floating around in the world. So, um, good on this movie, good on the writing for like giving us just that really in-depth world building without spoon feeding it to the audience. They just kind of leave
Yeah,
you crumbs here and there.
yeah,
Mhm.
definitely. It's like world building that's like a nugget for something huge in the future. Like it's like interesting foreshadow mixed with world building.
Hmm.
and then we kind of get to where what, like when you retire, they send yourself back. I guess is that what I'm
Yep.
understanding? And then,
Yeah,
Yep. They close the contract.
yep.
yeah.
Yep.
Close the loop.
So one of their co-workers, I guess, another looper, that kind of goes on, and then they're out celebrating at the club after that.
So this part's interesting to me because I always this is the first time I'd ever seen it when they take the drops.
Yeah,
So the drug. And I mean, I personally don't know of drugs that you put in your eyes nowadays. Maybe I'm just dumb to that,
Um,
but
I
yeah,
mean,
that
my weeb is showing, but it kind of reminded me of that. Actually, I think it's the first episode of Cowboy Bebop where they're spraying the red eye,
oh yeah.
and Spike and all them are chasing that bounty. But I don't know. I think it's a really cool futuristic style of, okay, well, he's getting fucked up.
Yeah.
I like that they didn't do needles, or I mean, I guess they could have. They could have done pills, but nah, they're doing like these weird. I don't even know what they are. Some sort of
Psychedelic or something.
maybe it's psychedelic, maybe it's a downer or an upper. Well, later, we clearly see the withdrawal symptoms of this drug, so it's obviously nothing good. But
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, it's heavy.
and this is the
his
second time we've
yeah.
seen this style of drug use. Now, the next time we see it is with another Paul Dano movie with the Batman.
Yeah.
They're all drop heads, I think they call them. So
Mhm.
that'd be the second time we've seen a drug like this, at least that I can remember in a movie. And then, do we want to explain what a looper is?
Yeah. Do you want me can I do
Yeah,
it?
go
Is that
ahead.
good?
Yeah,
Hit it.
Yeah,
So a looper is hired by the mob, usually people that have a certain background, at least from our main character. What they do is they get orders from, what we would call them as like a shot caller here in this city. They get a certain time, they pick a place, and once that time gets there, this person gets sent back, appears, and their main job is to end them. Like we already talked about, they're usually on their knees, they have a hood over their head, and they're shackled. So as soon as they show up, they shoot them, cut open or take the payment in the back, and dispose of the body.
yep.
And once usually whenever we get to this, the contract is ongoing until you close your loop. And what that meaning is, same exact premise. Person comes back, shoot them, but once you cut open the back, you see gold bars. That's how you know that you closed your loop. You have killed your future self.
And you
Mhm.
got
Once that
30
happens,
years, right?
yep. Once that happens, your contract is fulfilled. You're able to just spend the next 30 years living it however you want until you die.
yeah. And We're gonna
Use
get
that
to it here.
whatever, unless I miss
Yeah,
anything.
we're gonna get to it here in a little bit, but this movie has probably one of the most disturbing scenes
Yes.
in a
Oh my
non-horror
god.
movie
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
that I
It's
agree.
think
so
I've ever
cool though.
seen.
I agree.
I can't believe that I don't remember this scene when I watched it when I was back in 2012. But like watching it now, I was like, this is horrific.
Yeah.
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 We
I
were
text you guys. I was like, "Holy
Yeah.
crap."
me and Brittany
I
were laying in the bed watching this, and I was glad she was next to me because I was like, "Oh my god, this is horrible."
that poor man. So we're. I mean, is there anything that happens after the club?
It's
His
just kind
friend
of
closes
going
the loop.
through his
Montage.
of like
Okay,
he's
yeah.
killing. He goes to the club, chasing that stripper, doing
Which
That
drugs,
one?
part.
stacking
One of
silver.
the no, and it really a great contrast once we meet Emily Blunt's character and kind of get into the all of that down the road here in a little bit. But this scene in particular, like his stripper girlfriend, uh, I love like generally I hate unnecessary nudity in film. It's just an unnecessary distraction. But like for where he's at in his life, you know, addicted to drugs, living as a contract killer, pretty much living in rock bottom, like he's just a piece of shit on the day to day. You know, he's not really doing great in life. I think this scene with her kind of reinforces that. Not only does it show nudity briefly, like eventually, uh, you know, she's kind of blocked out, so it doesn't show it very long, but just to kind of reinforce that, man, he is just in a really messed up place. And what's she doing while she's sitting on him topless? She's dropping those drops into his eyes, like, hold on, let me take care of you, you know. So she's almost like not force feeding him the drugs, but she's not helping.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Not really a
And
great influence for this guy.
This is where Seth comes into his apartment like in a panic. He's knocking on the
right.
window. He comes in and he explains that uh, his contract was supposed to be closed, right? Or that
His
was
loop was
him.
supposed to be closed.
Yeah,
He was supposed to kill himself from the future, but he couldn't do it.
he couldn't do it and he got
Mm-mm.
away. And that's a big no-no here. Like
Yep.
you have to kill that person they sent you, or they will come for you.
Which brings up maybe a plot hole. I'm like, why would you send yourself to kill yourself? Like, if you wanted to make sure it was finished, why don't you send your future self to somebody else? Like, I feel like we're just setting yourself up to not do it.
That's true.
Mm-hmm.
That's very
Yeah.
true.
But I don't think it's a big enough loophole to
Yeah.
derail the movie. But I think
I
that I was
mean,
like, yeah,
I guess in my mind, if we're talking mob, like if anything, it shows loyalty.
loyalty.
As
Yeah.
long as you stay in line and follow the rules, you're pretty set to live a pretty decent life compared to most. And then once you do inevitably have to kill your future self, from that moment on, you know you got 30 years and financially, as long as you don't blow it on hookers and drugs, you're probably set for life, you know?
Mhm.
So I
Exactly what I
think
was
it's
thinking.
more of a stay in your lane type of thing.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But
Do
I mean,
you,
agreed. Good point.
do you guys think that you could do it?
Kill myself?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Getting to live 30, yeah, I'd take that deal. I mean,
Honestly, I'm surprised I've lived this long, so yeah.
Yeah, it kind of depends, I guess. If I'm 20, I'd be like, fuck, man, I'm not ready to die in 30 years. But
Hmm.
if I'm creeping
But
up on like the 35 years or something, be like, oh, okay, I got another 30.
basically the halfway point, you
Yeah,
know?
I'm good.
I'm
Let me cash out, and I'm just going on a bender, baby.
and that's kind of what I'm thinking as well. Like, especially nowadays, we don't know like if we're gonna live that long. So if I know like, hey, I've got 30 good years ahead of me as long as I like don't do too much shit. But then again, they already lived that life, so whatever they do, they know they're gonna survive in some way of thinking. I'm not sure if you guys are on that same path because I feel like we see later on, I'm not gonna get too far into it, he does some shit and he's still alive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Mhm.
I mean, if I know, like, I don't think anyone really wants to know when they're gonna die, but if I do know that, especially the life that I have and what's going on here, I would live my 30 years to the fullest. Like, I would not care. I'd do whatever I need to do
For
Uh,
and
sure.
just enjoy
Yeah.
life.
I think about my family's lifespan. They all live to be like 60. So I'm thinking if a old boy, a future me, shows up to be, and I'm 30, and he shows up, I'm like, it's probably about the time I
Yeah,
would
this
hit the
Yeah.
sounds
bucket
about
anyways.
right.
And
Yeah.
so that wouldn't be too
I made
bad.
it.
But also they have a bag on their head, so you don't know you're killing yourself until you get the gold bars.
Yeah.
So
Which that's kind of where you feel bad for Seth because when his time's up, when he's set to close his loop, what fucks it all up is the dude's wearing a hood, he's shackled, but he's sitting there
And he's
singing
gagged.
this, and he's gagged, but he's like humming this tune, and you can see it's jumping from Seth's point of view to like where he was in that moment where he was supposed to pull the trigger. And uh makes me feel bad. Like again, the writing is just spot on in this movie because like just with Seth, I felt bad
mhm.
because he what was it? He was humming a tune that his mother used to
His
sing to him.
mother would do.
So that means
And
his
yeah,
sorry, I was gonna throw in this like so that means his future self knew that he was kind of weak at this point and he could get out of it and run and get some more years. That's the way I'm thinking about it. That's why he did it to himself. He's like,
hmm
you know what?
And,
He's kind of weak right now. I can get away and continue to live.
and it's a motif in this movie is mothers, parentals.
Yeah.
There's a scene coming up with Joseph Gordon-Levitt where he talks about his mom.
yeah,
Emily Blunt is a very protective mother. She has issues with being a mother.
Yep.
So it's definitely a thing there. And then I think all of the main loopers that we meet have all been given up by their family, like their
Yeah.
mom or their
yeah.
dad has given them
They're
up.
just like street kids or
Yeah.
foster
And
kids. Who the hell knows? They don't really
so
explain it. They just say they
Yeah.
don't really have any family to speak of.
Well,
yeah,
Jeff,
because I
Abe kind of talks about it like, when I found
Hmm.
you were, nothing. So they definitely look for that. Like these kids that
hmm
have nothing and then like, hey, I got something you can do to make some quick money.
yeah,
And that sounds like every spy or assassin movie that we have watched. Like these people just have no connection to anyone.
Yeah.
yeah,
hmm
But one
and
thing I love about this is like, yeah, Seth flat out says like, "Hey man, I screwed up. He did this. He ran." And you can just tell like he is scared. He's freaking out. He's like he's going to Joe because that's his best friend. He's like, "Maybe he'll help me." And Joe's just like, "Shit, man, like there's nothing I can do." And you
Yeah.
see like he was about to give him up, and he's just like, "Ah, fuck it. Get in my safe." Which I'm going to say right now, that was probably one of the coolest safes I've ever
Yeah,
seen.
that's tight.
Yeah.
And then just be lined up with silver bars. I was just like, "God damn, like, I didn't got that money, but I want a safe like that in my house. That's awesome."
Well,
But yeah,
and once
he
you kind
smashes
of see Joe's like whole situation, like that he's been setting aside at least half of his gold bars since he started being a looper, and that's the most important thing to him, which Jeff Daniels says here in a little bit. He's like, uh, what's your plan? Take all your silver and go overseas, travel, blah blah blah. And so like that's his whole future. It says a lot that he's willing to put his friend amongst his silver. Like obviously we don't know. Seth's been on screen for a whole 5 minutes, but obviously it's his friend. He doesn't just open up his floor safe and toss a dude in there for good measure.
mhm.
exactly. So yeah, he stuffs him in, and we see that the Gatmen show up. They pound on the door, which I think is still cool. I mean, I believe this movie's based in 2044. Yeah, so like I love that you have the just like we see in futuristic movies, like screen pops up, kind of like Fifth Element type vibes. We see them out there with these huge gats that come in. They're like, "Where is he?" Blah blah. He's like, "I don't know," but that's when he says like, "All right, you got to go see Abe," and we get introduced to him, and like this whole he goes into this bunker, he's talking to him, and fucking Noah's character, Kid, is just sitting there
Just
eyeballing him,
twirling.
spinning that gat. And I just love the back and forth because he's being so cocky. He's just like, your blunderbusses suck. And this thing's got range. But this is probably one of the funniest things to me is that he's spinning this. And
He kind of drops it.
yeah, Joe just looks at him. He's just like, "You gonna shoot your other foot off?" And he he gets pissed, and I love the whole flat out stare down because he gets up, points that right at his head. And again, this is a big ass revolver.
Hmm.
And he points it straight at him, and he's just like, "You immediately." I love how he immediately just turns and he is stone faced, looking him right in the eye.
Yeah.
He's just like, "You know what? You're not going to do shit. So go ahead and keep doing." Like I loved that back and forth right there. Super
Yeah.
cool.
And then
And
what
then
happens?
yeah, then he gets hit with a fucking door, and he's like,
Yeah, he gets knocked in the back. That big fucking gun goes off. It ricochets around, and then Abe looks at him. He's just like, "Did you shoot your other foot off?"
Oh, I was laughing.
dude, yeah,
Oh my
that shit
God.
killed me, dude.
This poor guy kind of goes through it from this point on for the rest of the
He
movie.
does. Well,
Yep.
and he is kind of a fuck up, but like I do love him too.
Yeah.
His character's endearing. Like we all know a buddy like that who lets their mouth run a little bit too much, like you can't, that doesn't mean he deserves to die or he's a bad guy. He's just an idiot,
Yeah, it's just an idiot. He
Um,
does want to do good though, but
He does.
he's just
He wants to. He
kind
wants
of a
to press
klutz.
people. Exactly.
And as we talked about with the parental aspect, he wants nothing more than Abe's respect, because Abe is his father essentially. So
Mhm.
that's all he wants, but he just keeps kind of fucking up.
Can't help it, man.
Definition of fuck up.
And
But yeah.
well,
Sure. Oh,
before
go
we
ahead.
get into Abe, I was just gonna say Seth, before he shoves him in the hole, that's the first mention. Seth is the one that tells Joe about the Rainmaker and basically
Yeah.
tells him like he's this leader, like from like however many, 30 years from now, he takes control of it all. And he goes, "What do you mean? He would need an army?" No, he does it by himself. And that's where we kind of like, okay, who the fuck's this Rainmaker dude? Like, clearly nobody we've met yet, but obviously nobody to be trifled with.
Yeah. And though I know that this was gonna be a plot point, it felt like the PK quarter thing where I was
Mhm.
like, is this just more world building? I don't know. And then it all ties in towards the end, but it's pretty sweet.
Yeah, I agree with you there. I didn't really, I mean, okay, Rainmaker, and I kept waiting for the details to finally like form a picture, but like you kind of said, we really don't hear about this guy again until like the last third of the movie once we get to meet Emily Blunt. But
Mhm.
yeah, very cool. Like just another one of those nuggets that they leave
Yeah.
in there for you.
And this is where we meet Abe. They have a meeting, and we learn that Abe is from the future,
Hmm.
and he's so fucking bored. And I think it's really interesting that he's from the future and he's just so bored.
Oh, it's a one-way trip. Like he's not going back too.
Hmm.
And I love how they said that. Like it's a one-way trip. He was sent here to pretty much run this, and he's like, it would have been
Manage.
impressive if it wasn't for this city. And I was just like, that kind of cracked me up right there.
Yeah.
Yep.
I love
But I also,
Abe. Jeff Daniels. What a great actor, though.
Yeah.
hmm
I love that he's not like a complete asshole. Like for sure he is, but you know, again, sometimes in these movies it's like give up the guy and we'll let you live, and then they end up killing him anyway, but he's telling Joe to like, "Hey, we know you got him. You can either give us half your stash or give up your friend Seth." And he ends up giving up Seth and lets him go. Like, we're gonna go get him now.
Reason he gives him up, he wasn't going to give him up. It seemed like, but he was like, "We're going to take half your silver if you don't."
Yeah,
And so,
Yeah.
and
he's been saving up all his silver to go to France in 30 years.
yep,
And
And
what does he keep saying? He goes,
go to
"Believe me,
China.
you'll want to move to China." And he's
yeah,
like, "No, I'm going to France." He goes, "I'm from the
Just
future. You
go
want
to
to go
China.
to China?"
yeah.
But
And so
whatever,
he
go
ends
to
up,
France.
I love that back and forth there too.
and so then he ends up giving his buddy up because he's like, "I've worked way too hard for all
yeah,
this silver."
Yeah. Like you're willing to dump your silver in the dirt for Seth?
yeah,
See that as another world building aspect too. It seemed in the beginning Joe was willing to again put his friend among his silver, his most prized possession, but then without even an act of violence, um, what's his name? Abe, just surgically dismantles his wall like he's prepared to like not break, and he's prepared to like not give up his buddy. But once they tell him, yo, we're going to take half of what you've worked your entire life for, and you see his face just kind of go a little pale, and he starts that whole internal struggle with himself, like, is this guy really worth it? And so it wasn't like he just, willy-nilly gave his buddy up. Like, it was a pretty brutal conversation,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
pretty tense.
And then like,
Yeah.
what's the plan afterwards? It's like, I gotta do it.
You're gonna hide him.
Like, yeah, you gonna
Mhm.
just be on the run forever? They're gonna get you, man. I might as well keep my stash.
Exactly. And I gotta
Sorry.
say this next part right here is probably personally to me is like one of my favorite scenes in the whole entire movie. We're talking about future Seth. So
Oh,
you see him in a train yard,
Yep.
and next thing you know, he's getting ready to scale the fence, and out of nowhere, he sees an arrow just show up on his wrist. I thought it was so cool because obviously he's got his sleeve and it's pointing inward. The next thing you know, it says, "Be at this address in 15 minutes." So
Hmm.
I thought that was a really cool concept because literally they're doing this to present Seth, and we're
Hmm.
seeing the scars from it on future Seth. And I just so cool to me because he's climbing up, and next thing you know, one finger's gone, two
Yeah.
fingers, and then he's next thing you know, he's in the car and his
His
nose is gone.
nose.
And then like he's driving, like he's frantically trying to get there. And I just thought like this part as well as he's driving, his fucking foot disappears out of nowhere and he crashes that car and like I'm just like, dude, like I just thought that was the coolest concept because you see about I guess some things here and there, but the way they did that was just absolutely amazing to me.
Yeah,
yeah.
it was fucking brutal. Like,
Mhm.
it was incredibly disturbing to see this man be dismantled, and he has no pain because all this stuff happens in the
It's
past.
already happened,
Uh,
and
and
yeah,
and so he's like trying to make it back there to present day version of himself, and he gets there and he's like not even half a man. He's like a quarter
He's
of a
got
man,
nubs
yeah,
just
and
hitting the
you
floor.
find out that they've been surgically removing everything from present day Seth until he shows up. And they have to
man.
close the loop. But I guess maybe you guys can explain it to me. I'm like, what? Why not just kill present day Seth? It would kill future Seth.
I
Like,
don't think
what
it works that way.
you would if
But
you
I don't
killed
yeah,
if you killed present day Seth,
you're right, yeah.
you would just get rid of future Seth. Now, maybe maybe there's a whole life that older Seth has lived,
I'm
and
gonna
then
look
he would
that up.
become a missing person. But if you killed him in the past, then none of that stuff would happen anyways.
I
So I
figured the way I thought this too, but I just thought like this is the contract or whatever. So
I
regardless
mean,
if he dies
I
anyway,
figured out why.
it's like you have to kill him. What is it?
So it says in Looper, killers don't immediately kill young Seth because doing so would cause drastic, uncontrollable changes to the future. A paradox
so
that
they
the
keep him
future crime
alive.
bosses who run the operation want to avoid. So instead, that's why they start mutilating him because they need the older self to die first, so the paradox doesn't happen via the time
Yeah.
travel.
Because if
Okay,
they
so
killed him
that's
right there, it wouldn't have his future self wouldn't have
yeah.
did the things he did.
Yep.
mhm.
Once we see Seth, what's left of him, creep up to those double doors, one of the Gat men kick the doors open basically and just grab him and pull what's left of him in, and you see young Seth or present Seth um, strapped to that table. And so, yeah, makes total
What's
sense why they didn't. But man, like again, they've already established we're working for the mob, and I get it, but and just going back to Joe real quick, when Abe's giving him to the third degree, um, the last thing he says before he gives him up is, "You ain't gonna kill." He's real quiet about it. He's like, "You're not gonna kill him, are you?" And what does Abe say? "Mm, Not if we don't have to."
Right.
And so there's this glimmer of hope that, okay, yeah, they're probably gonna do some horrible stuff to him, but maybe let him live. Nah, we see what they end up doing to him, and it's
Mm-hmm.
like, well, okay, that's why you don't cross these guys.
So here, we kind of move on. This is where I believe he kills or himself comes back, and he is not. He doesn't have the bandana on or the hood.
Yeah,
So as soon as he
yeah,
shows up, that like shock of like, whoa.
this is wrong. This is already wrong because
Yeah,
every target we've seen, well, for this particular situation where a looper has to blast a target that's sent back in time, they've always had a hood covering their face. And we kind of see here throughout this scene, his target is not only unshackled, he's kind of sitting there with his arms out, but he doesn't have a hood. He's just kind of looking down, and he looks up, and it's Bruce Willis. So it's literally Joe meeting his old self. He's the target,
And I love that,
and
like, I say, especially in this scene, because even in this, like, he's checking his watch constantly. He's just like, "Wait a second, he's late," because he already kinda knew something was up, so he checked it twice. And, I love that whole entire cutscene because, yeah, Bruce finally looks up, eye
he's
shot, and then he cuts over to younger Bruce, eye shot, and you just see that same right there. And even just the part, like, he's about to shoot, flips it around immediately,
gold bars.
gold bars, and, like, that was so smart for him to do too. You gotta think about that, but, yeah, even in that 2 seconds, he immediately grabs one of those, flips it at him, and the next thing you know, you just see Bruce just knocking his ass
Knock
out.
knocks
Lights
lights
out.
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 He
Yeah,
wakes
and
up
it
and has a note, right? What's the note say? Like,
Yep.
get out of town or.
Get out of town,
hop
run.
get yeah, get out of town, hop the train out of town, run. Like, yeah, basically get your ass moving.
And like you had mentioned earlier, Shope, that he's kind of just self-absorbed. Like he doesn't listen, of course, which I don't know if anyone would. He'd be like, pissed. I'm going home at least to check on my stash. And he gets
Yeah.
Mhm.
there, and you can tell his apartment's been raided. His floor safe is open, so he knows something's up.
Yep.
He did do a smart thing, like, as soon as he started to get there, he immediately destroyed his phone, so they couldn't track him, so at
Yeah,
least he's got
Mhm.
that going for him, but, I mean, hey, even without his silver bars completely gone, like, he had a little bit of a stash with some money so he could at least get away and protect himself, but, yeah, he notices as he grabs that, there's a cigarette that's still lit on a stack of silver bars, so his apartment's not empty.
No, in fact, it's what's his name? Kid Blue
yep.
is, he's still there taking the last batch of silver out of his safe, like crawling out of the floor safe or whatever. And uh yeah, him and Joe get into it, and they start fighting, and of course Joe kind of kicks his ass, but what the fight goes out to the fire escape.
Yep.
Yeah. Yep, throws him in the safe. I love it because we finally get I love hearing that
That's
gat
right.
go off as "Bop, bop, bop, bop," it's 6 shots right through it.
And yeah.
And yeah, nicks his ear, and even tells him, he's just like, "Kid, I'm sorry. Tell Abe I'm gonna fix this. I'm gonna kill this. I'm gonna kill my loop or close my loop." And yeah, pretty much fights with the other dude and falls off that fire escape, and again lights out right there.
Mhm. Yeah, and let's see.
And it
Uh
cuts back to we're now switching. The scene starts over, but now we're seeing it from future
Old Joe.
Bruce's self, or yeah,
Yeah.
old Joe. Sorry, I keep saying
Mhm.
Bruce. Old Joe's perspective.
Yeah. And what a again great I mean, obviously he knows what's going to happen, so it all makes sense in full context, but just swinging around, taking that shotgun blast to the back, knowing you're strapped with gold bars, and as he's turning around, snatching one off of his back and just whips it at Joseph Gordon-Levitt, and just clocks him.
Mhm.
Uh, so it goes through that whole thing again. Um, this time, let's see, where does Bruce,
Well, this
uh,
time it actually
old
shows
Joe,
him killing. Yeah, it actually
Yeah.
shows him killing old Joe, and he finally
that's
cuts
right.
open the back, sees the gold, and we start going through the years.
Yeah, so this is like the 30-year run. So this is kind of how Joe
Yep.
grew old. You can tell
Ah,
he's kind
I
of
love it
still
too.
in a I don't know what you call it. He's up to no good still. He's not living his best life for a man that's retired.
He's partying a
No.
little too hard.
He's partying.
Yeah.
He's killing people still.
Yep.
We
Breaking
got
He's
his
another
arm.
floor
working.
state. So
Yeah,
yeah, like this. I
Yeah.
mean, we didn't say this, but he didn't go to Paris. He ends up going to Shanghai.
Yep.
Gets an apartment. We see another floor safe just full of money. And like Colby was saying, he parties a little too hard. We're on year 3, and that whole entire safe full of money is dwindling down. So, Colby, what
He.
does he end up doing? Oh, sorry. Show up either one of you.
Oh yeah. Go.
uh what does he do? Is this where he meets like the old lady, or
Oh no, sorry. This is when he pretty much starts turning into life of crime because he's out of
right?
money.
Well,
Yeah,
because
yeah, this is
yeah,
where he starts
he.
Right?
shooting people. Yeah,
Yeah, sorry.
Yes. It basically this whole montage of scenes of him just partying, murdering. Uh, it really just establishes that all that gold he took with him over to Shanghai to start a new life,
yeah,
he burns through it in 10 years. And he's still got 20 years left. So uh, he pretty much starts working for the Chinese mob and is doing the same thing for the most part. I mean, he's not. I don't think he's killing time travelers. He's just still murdering people. Um,
Stealing everything he can to get money at this point.
yeah.
yep,
And honestly,
Um,
I like that transition because his hair starts to get long.
yeah.
And
yeah,
then we cut to cut to an older Bruce with long hair. That always throws me off seeing Bruce Willis with hair, man.
yeah,
Yeah.
Like I know he had it. I do, but I'm used to seeing Bruce like either bald or
Bald.
really short hair. So
Hmm.
it always weirds me out.
Well,
But yeah, that scene which Colby's talking about, Shop, you're probably gonna get to it. I'm so sorry, but I gotta talk about that because they're in a bar and just all hell breaks loose and he gets socked in the face. And I kind of love it because Shope talks about color. You talk about color in movies and how how it plays, and you've got this room that's just full of all these black suits, and you just see this beautiful Chinese woman in this vibrant green dress, and he's just like, "Hey, how you doing?" And she just turns around, and Colby, what does she do to him?
I believe she gives him the finger, right? She like flip him off. Yeah,
Just
like
very subtle. She does that and gives him a little wink,
yeah,
and he's smitten, man. He is fucking smitten with her.
yep. And then from that time on, it just shows them kind of being in love with each other, spending the life. She kind of saves him, takes care of him through his withdrawals, gets him cleaned up. And then it's year 30, and
yeah.
it's his time
Uh,
to go close that loop.
so basically, the breakdown there from this perspective is he burns through his funds in 10 years. So the first 10 years, he's out of money. He's still addicted to drugs, partying. Um, he marries that girl 17 years later. So 10 years plus 17, that's 27 years. He's got 3 years with her where she basically cleans him up. He's living his best freaking life, clearly. I mean, we do see more of it later, but uh she was great for him. And that's when year 30 rolls around after the 3 years he gets to spend with her, and he gets sent back. They send people in, they drag his ass to wherever that time machine is, and that's how he gets thrown into the whole situation with his younger self.
Yeah,
And I love that warehouse scene because like you just see a stack of those what is it, jackets that they're wearing along with the hoods. Just a
Hmm.
stack of sitting there for all future loops getting thrown in. Yeah, that I
Hmm.
always love that seeing that part there. But I don't remember what happens because I know he gets taken to the warehouse.
he fights them
Refresh me
off.
what
He
happens after
he
that.
kind of kicks their ass a little bit, and then
Oh,
he
that's right.
hops
Yeah.
into the time machine himself. So he already knows,
Hmm.
of course, what's coming. and then
And that's
And
why
these
he's not
were
shackled and he's
yeah,
not wearing the hood because he put himself in there.
and these guys that took him, like, these are the future Gatmen, right? Or the
yeah.
Yeah.
current Gatmen? Okay. The hats threw me off, like, whenever I saw them 'cause they didn't have the big old gats this time around. I saw the hats, I'm like, "Okay."
Yeah. Yeah.
I thought it was
Those were
someone
the
else.
guys coming back to make sure that the loop gets closed. His 30-year contract is up and it's time to go back. And um, I do like this is the first time we get to kind of see the whole memory thing happen. So old Joe gets sent back. So we're back to square. I guess for the sake of the movie, we're back to square one with young Joe and old Joe, where they're out there in the field, and only this time he's got a chance to do things differently. Um,
Well,
and is that where?
he wants
Oh, go
to.
ahead.
He needs to save his wife, right? Is this what this all boils down to? What he's trying to do is
Old
his
Joe is trying to save his
what,
wife.
and
Mhm.
by killing the Rain Man, is that his name? Is that what they call him?
Yeah.
The Rainmaker. Yeah.
Rainmaker.
Rainmaker.
So I think that's his like new uh mission here.
Yep. And we don't quite know all the details at this point. We don't know why he's so intent. I do believe it does show that his wife dies, or that it's inferred that the woman he marries dies when they come to get him. But we don't really get to see it all play out and how it all happens until later. So when he gets back, in order to change what happens down that timeline, and with his knowledge, and correct me if I'm wrong, Blaine, but old Joe, knows how bad the Rainmaker is going to be when he
Oh,
comes
yeah.
back, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
'cause they're even talking about how all the loopers, are starting because
they're
it kinda gives us a brief
they're
glimpse
all
because
closed.
they
Yeah.
had four loopers get their loops closed in, like, a matter of weeks, so they know that they said, I believe they said the Rainmaker's closing shop or cleaning up.
Hmm.
Mhm.
So, well, what does he do different this time? So he's back at the field. The whole fight that unfolded before, where he spins around, takes the shotgun blast, whips a bar of gold at his younger self, and clocks him. That
Mhm.
all happens again, except this time, young Joe wakes up, and this is where we first get to see the two versions of the same person living in the same reality. It does have mental effects on somebody, and we see young Joe see old Joe's memories of the diner, where he's walking into the diner with what's the waitress's name?
Beatrix.
Beatrix.
Or
So,
Beatrice, sorry, Beatrice.
Beat,
But
yeah,
I believe before that, it's kinda reversed because, old Joe is sitting there and he
that's
sees
right.
young Joe smash the phone. He's just like, "What the hell you doing? I told you to run." And I love that part as well because we saw the part where he fall out of the fire escape, and old Joe actually comes up and shoots that Gat Man off the fire escape so young Joe doesn't get a bullet to his head, and ends
Yep.
up saving himself in a way, pulling his ass off the car and making sure he's safe.
Yep.
But I love like, I love that you said that because, yeah, seeing that whole mental memories kinda come into play, like, those weren't there before, and, like, he had to sit there and he's getting hit with these wave of new memories.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Like, that's just really, really cool.
So after that, he kind of is in this like computer room building, and
Mhm.
he's got a code on his hand, and he prints something off. We didn't really know what that code was. At least I didn't. They might have mentioned it, but
Nope.
yeah, he
Nope.
We just know it's a bunch of numbers.
prints something
Yep.
off. And what happens after that? Is this where they go to the diner? Yeah, he meets young Joe at the diner. He
Hmm.
kind of that same thing that happened with Seth. Uh, he like carves something in his hand, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
because he
he
walks up and
he
he's
gets
like,
the
"How's the
arrow.
wrist?"
He gets the arrow, and
Joseph
it just says
Gordon-Levitt.
Beatrice.
Yep.
Yeah, and I love that back and forth because he's just like, hey, there's a girl, another waitress that works here on the weekend. What's her name?" And he's just like, "Oh, Jenny." He's just like, "Yeah, less letters." But I love it. He's like, I didn't think you remember, so I went with Beatrice. I love that he said that too, because it's like, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Well, you could have carved out Jenny instead of Beatrice.
Yeah.
Oh
That
my god.
well, this is where we kind of learn from old Joe, like why. Well, the Rainmaker, why he has such a stick up his ass regarding the Rainmaker. Uh, that's who sent the men to kill his wife. And of course, young Joe is basically, well, okay, that's your wife, not my wife. Like I can marry whoever the fuck I want. If I wanted to marry the first girl I ran into right out the street, I could, like your future is not my future. And uh uh what was it? The Rainmaker is the one who was responsible for killing his wife, who sent the men. He runs everything because that's why it doesn't really click. Like, well, wait a minute, isn't the mob running everything? No, the Rainmaker took them all out. He's closing loops and he basically runs everything. This is a very dangerous person. But as we see in this scene too, you can't tell your younger version nothing.
Yeah.
Like he just doesn't listen.
Yeah. He even says, like, what, you got a picture in there? Show me the picture. When I see her, I'll turn the fuck away, But
Yeah,
both of them just being so stubborn. They both
another
want to
great
live their
scene
own
though.
lives, but
I love it how he even throws in. He's like, why don't you do like old men do and just fucking die? You already got your 30 years. Let me have mine. And that
man,
part
Hmm.
just cracked me up.
he's so cold.
I no offense, Shope. I looked at myself. I'm like, Shope would say that shit to his future self. He's like, just fucking die, man.
I would.
You old
Get out of my
bastard.
way. God, you suck. Like I'll do the opposite of whatever you did. Uh, but yeah, man. What a great scene, and really pretty spot on for I think most of us. Like if you did have a chance to sit down and chat with your younger self, that's more or less probably how the conversation would go. Yeah. They get a whole lot of nowhere, except we do learn more about the Rain Man. And where do they go? Oh, because the Gap Man come and find him at the diner, right?
Yep, they have like a little shootout, um, and then both old Joe and Joe escape.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, what's his name? Kid Blue kind of drops the ball again. So, like I
Again,
said,
what
he goes through it.
Poor kid.
what was it?
Yeah, poor kid.
And let's see the gunfight. Oh, and that's right. Old Joe had that map. He had, and we don't know what this map is. We see it kind of, but during the kerfuffle, young Joe rips off a corner of this map and they kind of get separated again. Um, and we come to find out, uh, this map is he's got places around town that are circled on this map of possibilities of who the future Rain Man is. And it's like what, 5 kids at
3.
least?
I think it's
Three.
Or is it 3? Okay.
Yep.
So, and this part, man, and again, small thing, I guess, until you actually start getting into the nitty gritty of it, it's pretty rough. Like I get where future Joe is coming from, throughout this whole next montage of him going around looking for the Rain Man, but
Yeah.
dude, you're a bad man. You are a bad guy trying to save yourself. Like you sit here and criticize your younger self for having his head up his ass and being selfish. What do you think you're doing?
And
But
that honestly, it reminds me. I don't know what this is from, but it just reminds me of it was some movie or TV show, but they're talking about going and killing baby Hitler. And they're like, "Oh, yeah, I'll go in." They're like, "But it's a baby." He's like, "But it's fucking Hitler." I can't remember what it's from, but that
Yeah,
whole
what is that
dynamic, it's
from?
like, this guy is a piece of shit, but he's also a baby. Like, you're gonna be killing a baby. I just can't like, immediately made me think of that, but I cannot remember what it's from.
Yeah.
yeah, and because yeah, young
If you
Joe gets kind of
sorry,
fucked up.
I'm just gonna throw this in here. If you guys are watching this and you know what scene we're talking about our movie, please throw it in the comments
Yeah,
so
yeah,
you can
yeah.
refresh our
Yeah.
memory.
Because I
That
know
would
I've
be
seen that
fantastic.
too. I don't remember what that's from.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm blanking out on that.
Point for what we see. Basically, young Joe ends up stumbling onto Emily Blunt's farm, and this is where her character kind of comes into play. Which, yay! Um, but old Joe is on his own mission, and that's where we kind of figure out. You piece together what the map is all about. He's going to these suspected locations. It's one of three kids that grows up to be the Rain Man, and old Joe's going around murking babies.
Yeah.
Not, not. It's not a good day. I mean, even he knows it's a terrible day. It's written all over his face. He doesn't want to do this, but if it means saving his future and a bunch of other people's future, from the sound of it, um, he's going to do whatever it takes.
He's still hiding in the cornfield outside of her farm, and there's like this guy coming after her. You don't really see him yet, but she pulls out the shotty. She's getting scared. She's making threats, and Joe sees that and comes and kind of helps save her because she doesn't really pull the trigger. She's kind of all talk for a minute, it seems like.
Hmm.
And then you see Joe kind of fall down on the ground. He's throwing up. You could tell he's withdrawing or he's sick, bad.
Yep.
Yep. And honestly, I'm just gonna say this because I know we're moving on, but her line when we first see her talk, she's like, "Listen, fucker, I've shot and buried 3 vagrants in this past year. This shotgun will cut you in fucking half." And like
Yeah,
that right there, I'm just like, "Fuck yeah, Emily
yeah,
Blunt.
yeah.
All right, I
And
fuck with
can I
you."
just, I wrote this in my notes. What a great American accent from a British
Yes,
actress. Like, because I
yes,
love, you can hear most British actors when they try to do an American accent, there's always still just a little bit of British in
same
there. But
word.
with, I didn't hear a hint of British when she spoke, and it was really good.
Yep. And then she kind of meets Joe at the barn, like, okay, uh, I healed you,
Okay.
get, once you're feeling better, get off my farm. He's like,
Hmm.
I'm gonna be here for a while, and hands her. They kind of go back and forth. He hands her the note with those numbers on it, which he doesn't know what they mean, and she kind of knows right away. Like, how'd you get this number?
Hmm.
Hmm.
Blast
Yeah,
his ass with that rock salt.
because it's Sid's birthday and
And
the area code
hos-
that is hospital
The
number.
hospital,
Yep.
the
yeah, it's like
hospital.
the hospital ID number or something. But yeah, it's uh the numbers that old Joe got. Um, we didn't know what those numbers were. It was just a random set of numbers. But as soon as she saw those numbers, it's like, this is my son's birthday and the hospital he was born at. So we
Yes.
now at this point know, and of course, I mean, rightfully so. If I don't necessarily fault Emily Blunt for blasting his ass
Yeah.
No.
with everything kind of going on. But we now know that her son is going to be the Rainmaker, which, um, is this where the kid starts to have his little meltdown, but it's not just a meltdown.
Yep. Um.
And
So
Well,
while
I
this
believe they
is,
started talking first.
yeah, they're kind of
They're doing a
talking,
little
and
bit
while
of
that's happening,
conversation.
this is where Joe is. He's found that other kid, the first kid of the one he's got. And then we move on. So Joe's found. He's located the one of the three kids, and the kid is walking up to the door, and he kind of gets that feeling. He turns around. You see old Joe standing there with a revolver, and this kind of sent goosebumps through me, chills,
yeah,
because I was like, oh my god, like, I don't know, just being a dad, I guess, and
hmm
what a what a terrifying thing, and Joe to be able to do this. Whew.
yeah, and I'm the same way. Where if I was in the same position and I was like, okay, I got to kill this kid so I can get my wife back, I wouldn't have killed the kid. Like, it just isn't worth like, I've lost my life. I got into this life of crime. It's not worth me killing this kid to get that back.
And it's like there's more wives out there, you know?
Start over, clean slate. It
You can't tell me
and
she was that great.
right. And it's also like, didn't this whole scene here and, like, The Terminator, the movie The Terminator?
It gave definitely Terminator. And I was thinking about that the other day, like what feeling carried that same weight for me. And there were two that I could think of. Chris Evans in Snowpiercer, where he's
Yeah,
like, I know what baby tastes like.
yeah.
Oh,
And the ending to The Mist.
No, yeah.
Oh god,
You
please don't.
know, like that's what I'm saying. Like
Oh,
that look on Bruce Willis's face when he went, and clearly did what he did. This is where it's like I feel bad for him, but dude, you're a monster.
Yeah.
Like, would your wife want you
Want you to
doing
do
this?
that?
And Jesse, I don't even know if this will be part of it, but like earlier, I was kind of saying like you bitched at your younger self and told him that he was self-centered and had his head shoved so far up his own ass, like time to grow up type of thing. It's like, what do you think you're doing?
Yeah,
Like you're being selfish. You're
100%.
trying to, yeah.
And
So,
it's a brilliant movie in the sense that, like, uh, Joe is one person, but two people, and
mhm,
so you lose all for me at least, I lost all empathy for old Joe, and I had all the sympathy for young Joe. And so even though they're the same person, they're 2 separate people at the same time, and I was like, "I have
mhm,
no sympathy for old Joe. I just don't." And after he did that, I was like, I couldn't believe it, and then he ends up going into the sewer, and he goes to sleep, and I thought this was really cool. So the new memory forms because young Joe gets woken up by Sid touching his face,
mhm,
and so in old Joe's mind, he's having a nightmare of that kid that he killed grabbing his face, and it wakes him up, and it was really just a nightmare plus a memory forming at the same time. I thought that was really
mhm.
cool.
Yeah, those memories, like as soon as old Joe shows up, like I said earlier, how they do, or I guess how they handle the same person, different versions of the same person existing in the same reality with those mental flashes, dreams, whatever you want to call them. Really well done. I love how they do that throughout this
Mhm.
movie.
can I just say that kid is an amazing actor? Like the way, I mean, you got to think the lines that he had to go through and the precision he did with his lines. Like I was seriously impressed whenever he just started talking throughout this whole entire movie.
for sure. I hate kid
Amazing.
actors really. Like
Yeah.
Hmm.
I get their kids. It's so hard for them, but this kid, man, when especially like whenever he's raging and like
Yeah.
Oh
having a
my god.
meltdown, wow. And I will say on that, it's like Joe fucks up and like hits the toy and it goes off, and like the kid like grabs it and like shuts it off, and he kind of is
He's like, "You're gonna get me in trouble."
like, "What are you
I
doing?
just I
Quit
love
touching
how
shit."
I love how quickly he did it too because he's trying to fuck with it. He immediately grabs it and looks straight up like he knew exactly where it was.
Exactly.
He's
He's
just
like,
like,
"Fuck,
"Shut up.
man."
I'm trying to help you right now." This also kind of brings us to like kid kind of just cuts the kid quickly. This Abe had already, fucking took his gap from him, smashed his hand, and you just start to see him kind of twisting out. So Abe's listening to the chatter of the Gap Man, and he like pretty much finds out the location of where Joe is. So you kind of have the backstory of Abe trying to redeem. I'm sorry, kid trying to redeem himself. Or at least we know he's going to try and redeem himself, or at least wanting to.
Yeah.
But this also cuts to Emily Blunt just whacking the shit out of a stump, and they really start to get into the backstory of Sid and everything because Sid mentions that that's Sarah's not his mom, or Emily's not his mom, and he
Yeah.
kind of wants to know what's going on with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This was a great scene where she's just out there whacking the stump, and her and Joe are having this conversation. It doesn't it pretty much center around Sid and like where he came from.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because when Sid was building the frog light, he had just said to her or to Joe that that's not my mom.
That's not my
Like,
mom.
I remember my mom when I was a baby, and that's not her.
Hmm.
And so then he ends up confronting Sarah about it. Joe does, and says you really got to talk to him about it.
Yeah. Yeah. And basically, we find out Sid, you know, Emily Blunt's character, what did she say? She was Sarah. She was 22, and
mm,
she was hanging out at a bunch of TK parties or psych parties. They where she it she gives these experiences, stories centering around her telepathy, and we find out, she was young. Her sister ends up raising this baby because she's a 22-year-old kid. She doesn't know what the hell to do with a baby. So ends up having Sid, leaves him with her sister, which of course she straightens her shit out, comes back, wants nothing more than to be the best mom she can be for Sid. But at that point, Sid's only known one woman as his mother, and that was not Sarah. That was her sister, which we um, kind of figure out here in a little bit because Joe does ask, well, what happened to his mom? And she doesn't really tell him at this point in time.
Yeah.
She kind of alludes to, they're gone, but we don't really figure out why until a little bit later.
And I think doesn't Sid mention that his mom died?
We we're pretty sure they're dead, and I think Sid does mention that. Um, we just don't figure out the cause until
Okay.
a little bit later,
Yeah.
and uh, so yeah, basically we get Sid's, for the most part, his story and where his trauma comes from, because he's just basically a really confused kid that knew one woman as his mother, but his biological mother, she was the party girl that is trying to come back and do right, but he's very torn about that, clearly.
yeah, and you can tell she's trying to do right because in this next scene, she's pretty much trying to do math with him, and he's knocking it out of the park, left and right, until it gets to one certain part because he's even having a kind of a side conversation. She's like, "Listen, Joe's trying to protect us, and she's pushing back hard." And he's even asked that question, "How long can you not sleep?" And she doesn't really answer because she's like, Joe can't protect us if he's awake the whole entire time. And he's just getting more and more frustrated because he wants Emily to realize that he is here to help them. And I love the whole back and forth with the he keeps saying 32, 32 with the multiplication table. And
Even though
this
it's
is
the wrong
where
answer.
yeah. And this is where she says, I love that breaking point because she even says alone time. And this is where we see the rage that, Jesse was talking about, the rage start to come out. And the kid is really good at it. But what really set it off for us, because again, we don't know exactly what's going on yet, but you
Hmm.
just immediately see the fear in Emily's face. And she exits that room quick as shit. And Colby, like, I don't know about you, man, but when she won't, like, I was like, okay, she's going to go in the closet and just kind of chill out. But then she whips open a safe.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And I was just like, I was so taken back by that. I'm like, why the fuck she getting in a safe right now?
That's
Yeah.
Yeah.
She knows what this kid can do. And going back, I just want to mention having kids. It is so frustrating. Like, I was feeling for her because he knows the right answer, but he refuses to do it. He's just being a little shit. And I don't know how many times my kids have done that. Like, I know just do it. God damn it. So,
They like pushing that button to see how far they can get before they make us
exactly.
get to our breaking point.
Mm.
Exactly.
And he is just like screaming liar at this point. And like
Yeah, he's
you just see her, she's in the safe, she's got a light out, and she's just like cowering. And Joe's outside, like, what the fuck's going on? Because he can hear liar, liar coming from the
The
house.
open window, yeah.
Yeah, but then it cuts to him and, like, that boy's just, like, kinda tuckered out, he's calmed down. Because I mean, I think all of us parents have done this as well. Show up, I know you've done this too, man, and it's straight up like, someone's having a temper tantrum, they need some time to cool the fuck down before we come back,
Yeah,
and that's
just
pretty much what she did. She's like,
let him get it
"Get it all
out.
out."
Uh,
Yep, and he comes back and he even says like, "Hey, I'm sorry," and they just kinda have a moment on the bed right there, and, like, I kinda love that they did that
yeah,
because, I
Mhm.
mean, this is that's real right there.
because he is. I mean, he's very dangerous, but he is a child, an infant.
He's a kid.
Yeah, so he's gonna have these raging moments, but he still is scared himself and confused and
Yeah.
needs that adult, that comforting love as well.
And
Mhm.
I think this is around the time that it might be hinting for viewers that he's obviously who Bruce Willis is looking for.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Mhm.
And so when you see his abilities, there's a part of you that is like, there's a reason why Bruce Willis, like, if he's able to do this, there's probably a reason that Bruce Willis knows what he's done in the future and what he's capable of. So it
I'm
must be
not
really, really bad if Bruce Willis is going to kill a child. And
uh,
even though I can't see it, and I'm still not for him doing it, maybe there's obviously some reason behind it.
well, and Emily Blunt, when she's out there whacking on the stump, she kind of does hint, she's a very gifted psychic. She, or telekinetic, I guess, but her kid surpasses her. But like
yeah,
we just established, still a kid. So he does not. And when he's having his meltdown and that can't, whatever effect they did where the room kind of darkens and you can kind of see the air around him like reverberate, this kid has I'm not saying I am justifying what Bruce Willis is going around doing while all this is going on. Because I completely agree. I don't have it in me to kill a baby.
Mhm.
But seeing that meltdown and seeing like just how dangerous this kid could potentially be and put that power in the hands of a 40-year-old or whatever he is at that stage, man, that's where again, I'm not justifying Bruce
Mhm.
and what he's
But you can
doing. It's
see
just
where he's coming from.
I can see why he's so afraid.
Yep.
Like if this kid, how he's established that the Rainmaker came in and he took over the entire syndicate by himself, and they did, they use those words specifically, by himself. It's like, mm,
and they kind
Mhm.
of touched at the beginning, like most people can float quarters in their hands.
Mhm.
Like
mhm.
this isn't really
That's about
anything.
it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
but this kid, you'll find out later, is he could do a lot more than that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because they thought they were all gonna be superheroes, but I love that we're talking about Bruce again because this kinda cuts to the second kid that he's looking for, and we come to find out he tracks it down, and he sees a familiar face, and that is
Mhm.
Susie, the stripper, or escort, if you will, and
Yeah,
finds
whatever.
out, if I'm not mistaken, it's her kid that he's looking for,
Yeah.
and you can even see it in his face, he's like, "Shit."
Yeah. And then it cuts back, I believe, to the farm, and this is
Yes.
where we
The
see
scene.
Jesse, and
Jesse's
uh,
at the door.
yeah, he knocks on the door. She opens it. She instantly is like, I think she was expecting uh Joe, so there's like that
Yep.
shock of like, oh, you're not Joe.
Or because he's like, he starts doing the whole cop thing, like, oh, you
Evening,
know
man.
how it is, the standard routines. We're just out here looking. And he kind of like puts his foot in the doorway,
Can I trouble
doing
you
that
for
whole
some
like,
water? Like
yeah,
just trying to get
Yeah.
in.
yeah. And he does. I mean, he clearly doesn't give Blunt a choice. He just actually, I think I'm just gonna go ahead and take a look around, and Sid's still in there. Um, they walk through the whole house, and we see young Joe creeping around as best he can to stay out of sight. Really tense scene of her leading him through the house. And once they do, kind of check out the whole place. She's like, "All right, I'll take you out to the barn and you can be on your way." And he goes, "Oh, don't worry, I've already helped myself to your barn. I'm actually gonna stay."
Yeah.
And yeah, pretty tense.
Yeah, and Jesse's walking around looking at stuff, trying to figure out what's going on in this place. And he sits down, and then Sid starts creeping down the steps. And one of my favorite parts is he makes eye contact with young Joe, and he's just like, he looks at Jesse and he's like,
Yeah, I love it. It's because he's the look on his face. He's like kind of tired, but
mhm.
it's like just so gangster. Like,
He's
what
like, you gonna shoot that guy?
want to take this guy
You want
out?
me to? You want me to take him?
Joe's like, no, no, no. Like,
No, no.
Yeah, so then they hear a noise in the house, and Jesse pulls his gun. Emily goes in there and is, oh, it's an old house, it's creaky, it's windy, whatever. And so when they leave the room, Sid takes young Joe into a room, and I believe it leads into an underground tunnel
yeah, just
that
Mhm.
leads
like
out in the middle of the yard, and it was built because of the vagabond or the vagrant
The
riots.
vagrants. He says grandpa built it because of the vagrants. And
Hmm.
they do reference that a lot where when Joe first shows up, "I've killed me 15 vagrants this month," or whatever she
Yeah,
says.
and I
But
think Sid says it's the vagrant riots or something like that. Like there was must have been
mhm,
some kind of big war or uprising, and that was built because of that. So they're underneath there, open things out, and I think they have a little bit of a conversation.
Yeah, this is where we dive more into Joe's backstory, like when he was a kid, and flat out saying that he was a vagrant himself with his mom, and she was heavy into drugs, and ended up selling him to was it a syndicate? I believe.
Well, the Panhandle Gang.
the Panhandle
Panhandle.
Gang. Yeah.
Yeah. So she sold him, and he flat out said, like, you know what? I ran away, jumped on a train, and that's kind of where he was. And like, I think we've all wanted. I think I even mentioned this in the last episode, just randomly jumping on a train and running away at one point when we were kids, because that's how we saw
Yeah.
it done. You get a
Mhm.
stick, you get a bandana, throw your shit in that bandana, and you hit the
Yeah.
railroad.
Exactly.
And
But I thought it was really cool just to hear more of his background, because it really talks about or shows why Abe was finding people like this, because they don't have literally anyone and
yeah,
nothing to lose.
and it's important uh, for a couple of reasons. The conversation because you learn that Joe wanted nothing more than to kill all these people, the druggies responsible for his mother's addiction,
Hmm.
and I think that plays heavily into the ending when we get there,
Mhm.
into Sid's psyche. And but I think also like he says something about that he used to hate that she was on drugs, but then he could see that she was just doing the best that she could, and that's what she
Yeah.
was doing. And so I think a lot of these little nuggets of backstory on Joe and other characters, it really humanizes them. Like it makes
Hmm.
me really care about these characters, like more
Mhm.
so than I ever would in any other action film.
Yeah, and
So
even when they're getting out of that hole, like you see Joe look down at Sid, and he just sees this little boy. Immediately gets out and runs to his mom, and like you can even see him. He's just like, okay, I'm starting to like this kid. Like I
mhm.
understand and everything, and like you see that connection start.
Sarah, right? That's her name, Sarah.
Hmm.
Yeah, she's
Yeah.
laying in bed and she's just kind of, lonely, and she clicks that alert button, and you see Joe run up. He's kind of like, what's going on? What's happening? And they lock lips. She was wanting a little action.
And they pork.
Yeah, and they boink.
Honest question. Same scenario. Are you
Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
Any
okay?
woman who shoots me with rock salt gets the dick.
Yeah.
Second question. Are you putting the baby in her?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Yes, I don't.
Okay.
Jesse don't wear no condoms.
Yeah.
All on the same page. All right. Cool. Cool. All
Yeah.
right.
But before we get even further, I think right before this, Kid Blue sees the
Yes,
working girl.
this is true. They see old Joe kind of peeking through the window, so they kind of get like a step ahead of him. They know what he's doing, where he's gonna be.
hmm
Then it
So
moves
then
on to this scene.
and they bang it out, and then
Then
they
she kind of
after
opens up
sex.
to him about that whole story, like we've said. She wasn't ready to be a mom. She was out partying.
hmm
She comes
And you,
back.
this is where you learn that she has TK as well. She's like spinning the coin and stuff, like they're the lighter or something.
Yeah,
Yep, Zippo.
and you can tell she's kind of a little more powerful than your average person with TK. Because she says something like she used to fuck with him and like not let
She
him
would
raise
hold the
the
coin
quarter.
down.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
Because I love how she said that because she said I even had one guy bust the blood vessel in his eye trying to get it up, and
yeah,
like that
Yeah.
just cracked me up. She's like, I was straight up fucking with him. That was awesome.
And this is the, I don't know if we've talked about it, but when we first meet Sarah, she's mimicking or miming smoking a
Yes.
cigarette out on her
yes,
porch. And to me, I was like, okay, she must be a former smoker. And then after sex, she lights one up. She's like, that was
yeah.
good.
That was
And
good. Old Joe
Nothing
know
like
what
a
he
smoke
doing.
after sex.
All right, so we wake up and Joe's coming down the stairs, and we see Jesse has a gun at Sarah's head. Um,
Yep, and he's trying to bargain with him. He's just like, listen, man, whatever this guy's paying with you, I'll split it. Just let them go. And after that, like we see Sid starting to come down the stairs, and he just kind of loses his step and starts to fall down backwards.
well, it's
yeah,
because
Joe tries.
Jesse
Sorry.
points a gun at him.
Yeah.
it,
Oh, that's right.
yeah, it
Jesse
kind
points
of
the gun
makes him
at him, and
flinch.
Joe tries to go and help him, and I love how everything kind of goes in slow mo. You start to see some things move, and instead of Joe catching him, Emily just flat out tackles him and takes him out the door, and
Yeah,
you just see the fear on her face.
this ain't gonna be good.
Yeah, please paint this scene. Like this scene was so amazing. Go ahead.
it it is an amazing scene. So when he points that gun at him, he flinches, and then like the slow mo starts happening. He's going down the stairs. You can see the fear in Sarah's eyes, and Joe, the fear in his eyes, like, oh my god, this kid is about to get hurt. Where she's like, oh my god, this kid is about to cause some damage. And then everything starts to kind of vibrate on the tables. You see like something weird is happening here. And then yeah, as he goes to catch him, she tackles him out the door. And
And
then
all the furniture begins to float, and Jesse begins to float, and then Sid hits the floor, and it just goes bananas from there. And you just see blood pooling out of Jesse midair, and the Sid and I'm sorry, Joe and Sarah fall out onto the grass, and then it's all slow motion, and then it ignites, and then the whole house, all the windows just blow out of this farmhouse.
Explode.
Yep, and it's a really cool scene, but I would like to point out that the character Jesse, he's only in the movie for like this much, but he is kind of a scene stealer. Like I want to see
Hmm.
more of him.
yeah, he's very
Like,
cool.
yeah, he's super cool. He's like super polite, but he's like dangerous, and like I love the way that he works in the scenes and stuff. And I don't think that he would want to kill Sid, but it just startled him. Like it
Yeah,
freaked him
well, you
out.
see whenever he points it at him and the kid goes
He
to
pulls the
fall,
gun
he's
back
like,
up.
whoa,
hmm
not a threat here.
Yep, but it doesn't matter to Sid, and Sid
Yeah,
Nope.
loses his shit,
he
and Jesse explodes. We don't see the aftermath of Jesse, but you can only imagine what that must have looked like.
he got turned to
Well,
mist, I think.
I don't know if there's anything left of him.
Yeah, because it's
I
he covered Sid.
I say that I was about to say that's what's left of him. It's on Sid's face and
Yeah.
whole
Yeah,
entire body.
Yeah.
And Sarah even kind of talks about like, and it's a quick scene, but Joe finally realizes what the fuck happened, and she's just like, he's good. He'll eventually learn how to control it. And
Man.
Joe's like, no, this shit's not gonna happen, and he chases after him. That's where we just see Sid crouched over, fucking caked in blood. And like one thing I love that they did about this is like even though his blood is covered or his face is covered in blood, like you can see
He's
the
so
tear
sad.
mark. He's still a kid. Like he doesn't know how to regulate his emotions, and shit happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like that's where you kind of like, God, dude, I actually kind of feel for this kid, even though he's going to turn up to be fucking a young Hitler at this point, honestly.
Well,
Yeah.
and that's where the story gets confusing for me on an emotional level because it's like I see it from everybody's angle. No, I don't want this kid to die. He's a kid, and Emily Blunt is right. He probably can control it eventually. But on the flip side of that coin, if the future is going to be as bad as old Joe makes it out to be because of this rainmaker, and not only his life is ruined, but countless lives are ruined. Um, Emily Blunt, like nothing you say is going to convince me that this kid is worth keeping around. You know, it's a really confusing point in the story, and they do a great job at least as us as the viewers, making us feel like who's right in this situation.
Mhm.
Hmm.
And I do think that as the movie goes on and we get to the conclusion, I think that everything comes around to where I do feel like things will pan out correctly. But at this point in the movie, it is so difficult to know like
Hmm.
what the right answer is. And I just don't know how I didn't see what old Joe saw. And so it's difficult for me to want
Yeah,
to
that's
do
true
anything.
too. Like we don't really see how bad the future is.
Mhm.
I mean, in his future it was okay. He was had a wife and was cleaned up. So maybe if we did see the horrible
And
stuff, we would be more on the side of kill that kid.
Hmm.
yeah, and
Mhm.
like again, you see, I get where old Joe's perspective because he's just had a shit life, and he finally got to see a little bit of that light, the
Yep,
goodness,
3 years
and
of it.
life, exactly what life can be, and he barely got a taste of any of that.
Yeah.
This cuts over to Abe, and they pretty much find out like where he or young Joe is, and like all the Gap men are strapping up, ready to go, and kid comes in with old Joe, and he's just like, "That's right, motherfuckers, I got him."
Yep.
Swinging his
What do
dick
you think
around.
about that?
But this is where old Joe just this is where I love Bruce Willis in this movie. He is pulling some like John Wick shit here.
That's
Mhm.
right. Yep. He just goes ham, like it's almost like he let himself get captured.
Exactly. Like this was a plan.
Seriously.
Uh he's
And
just got that
yeah,
stone look on his face too of like I'm gonna
Mhm.
take every one of these motherfuckers down.
he dismantles the whole fucking place, and then he makes his
Hmm.
way all the way to a big group of men, and he throws grenades in there and blows the whole
Oh my
group
god,
up.
that's so sexy.
Well,
And
I love that he grabs that fucking was it RP9, mows him down, then grabs a second one. You just see this motherfucker going through the hall with two of
Yeah.
them, Duke
Hmm.
Nukem style, man. Just
it's like he kind of does, like in a way, he doesn't really have anything to lose because he
no,
dies here. It's just a loop, like,
Yeah.
he's lived
and
longer than he was expected.
yeah. And so then he ends
Mhm.
up making his way into Abe's, and Abe, they flip the table, and he's like yelling out at old Joe, and he's like, "I put a gun in your hand, I gave you what was yours," and then he gives him what's his, and he goes in there and puts one on his head, and that's where is this where Kid wakes up, or does he wake up a little later?
Oh, he wakes up.
Yeah, he wakes up, but Joe I think is already out,
Yeah.
isn't he?
Yeah, he's kind of stumbling through the dozens of bodies, seeing like what actually happened. He finds Abe and sees the map of where Joe is actually going to go, and
Yeah.
you just see that again, that pissed off look of I'm going to get revenge on his face.
It cuts to old Joe
Young Joe.
and young Joe meeting, or does he tell her to like get out
Yeah.
first? Like,
He
hey,
pulls up in a truck and he throws him a thing of silver or gold and he says, "Go live your life. It's over with. No one's coming for you."
Yeah.
But
yeah,
he but then he knows that young Joe knows that old Joe's still going to go kill Sid, and this is where we find out that Kid Blue's still alive. He's riding one of those sick ass motorcycles,
yeah,
dude. I
The
like
speeder
this.
Oh,
Star Wars speeder bikes is
Yeah.
the
that's
closest
pod
thing I got.
racing. Yeah,
I was thinking
Exactly.
I was thinking Judge Dredd style, but yeah, the
Well,
speed
yeah.
race or the
Yeah.
pod racing one is more accurate.
And
And I do like how Joe kind of handles this here. Uh,
yeah,
like they said earlier, those blunderbusses aren't good after like 5 yards or whatever.
yeah,
Uh,
Right.
so he just starts blasting the rock and makes like a little smoke
smoke
screen.
screen.
Hmm.
I love how quick he thinks that over too. Like that is just
Yeah,
genius.
this
Yeah,
man is built for killing.
he
Mm.
clearly used the blunderbuss to its advantages. He was
Yeah.
like, I can't hit him from here, but I can make a smoke screen.
Yep.
Mhm.
There was
And
one
he's
point
he's heading straight toward me. So
earlier in the movie I thought this like he could have got that revolver that is way more accurate, but he still chooses his blunderbuss. Like that's his weapon. I thought was cool.
I mean, he was harnessing his ash. Like this is my boomstick
Yeah.
in the story.
agreed.
And so he
Yeah, but
creates a smoke screen, and then he ends up pulling the blunderbuss right underneath Kid Blue in the middle of the smoke screen, pulls the trigger, and
That's hot.
that's the end of Kid Blue right there.
Yep.
And when he turns around, old Joe's not there anymore, so he knows that he's headed towards the
He's
farm.
going after Sid. Yeah.
Yep. And this is where
Yep.
you see Sid and his mom going down the road. Old Joe meets him, starts shooting through the window, and Sid kind of again like screams. The truck flips up, lands on top, and then they kind of get out and are scrambling through the cornfield.
I thought I was watching Stranger Things for a second. Sid turned into 11, man, making that car flip over.
Right? Yeah.
Mhm.
And this is the part where I was like, if like she was way too like understanding for me. Like if Sid would have used his powers and fucking flipped the truck when we're trying to get away, I would not have been like, it's okay, Sid. I'm like, what the fuck, dude?
See,
Yeah.
that's
He
again
ruined
just
it.
another detail that they throw in where right up until the last second, I still don't know, where I stand on do I let this kid live? Do I don't? He's just, we've heard at least in the last 5-10 minutes, Sid using his powers and Emily. I get it. You're his mom, but you're sitting here. Oh, it's fine. Don't worry about it, kind of thing. And it's like, well, he destroyed your truck. He murdered how many people and turned them into pink mist. Like, are you sure it's fine? Because I'm starting to believe this kid is like, it's like giving a toddler an active nuclear bomb and saying, "Go play." Like,
Yeah.
how's that going to turn out?
Old
And
Joe's shooting
old
at him as
Joe.
they're running. Yep.
Yeah.
Hmm.
He kind of nicks him on the cheek,
Yeah, kid
and
gets hit
then
in the cheek.
again he gets pissed, and everything starts to kind of levitate. Um, Old Joe's kind of floating in the air, like what the fuck,
Well,
This is the
he
kid.
flat does a force blast.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, yeah.
sends him
Really?
flying.
And that was cool because I love when it shows that because I always love when they do the aerial view because you just see that kid and Sarah's almost to him. Everything just kind of sucks in and just blows
Yep.
up. And you just see that, and
And
even young Joe's driving towards it, and he just is met with a wall of dirt and just completely
in that
topples the
shitty
van
little
over.
whatever that
Yeah,
car is supposed to be. Like,
yep,
I mean, you might as
right,
well be riding a tricycle, but okay, he just takes that blast full and it tips the car. And uh
exactly. But this
so
scene,
and
oh,
oh dude, no, I was just gonna probably same thing as you. This scene
sorry.
is
It's
awesome.
powerful. It's fucking literally powerful. I mean, yeah, like Colby was saying, old Joe up in the air, Sarah up in the air, like, and the kid, like, you can just see he's pissed,
He's losing it.
and like it kind of reminds me of a young Anakin, if you will. Like this
That's
is
what I
him
was thinking.
turning
Yeah.
into Darth. Thank you. Yeah, turning into Darth Vader, and straight up, this kid, he has his eyes set on Joe, and Joe knows what's coming. Like you even see it in his face. He's like, "Fuck." He's got his time watch in his hand with this woman's picture, and he's just like, "No." But I love that because all of us, we, our moms are dear to our hearts, no matter what you go through. And even though he doesn't think it's his mom, like out of all that rage, he hears her voice just saying, "It's okay, baby. It's
Mhm.
okay." And like you just kind of see him. He's like, he again still a child, and like everything just kind of comes down, and like he immediately
Yeah.
just drops into her arms, sobbing. Like he's a fucking kid, man.
Mhm.
Yep.
God,
She's psychically projecting herself closer to him because she's still levitating, she's still caught in the chaos of whatever he's doing. But really powerful scene where she appears like inches in front of his face, and all he hears is Sarah's voice, it's okay, calm
Yeah.
down, it's
Yeah.
okay. And it's
She's
like
like
he
she's like,
does.
"Mommy loves you," and I was like,
Hmm.
"Oh, this fucking
Yep.
movie."
I'm like,
right?
hold it in.
Fuck.
Yeah.
And
Great scene.
Yep.
yeah,
Yeah,
And then he like lets him down again. They hug, and then we see old
and
Joe kind of pop up in the background there, and he's not
yeah,
done yet.
yeah.
Uh,
She
This is
sees
where
him.
yeah, young Joe's like he's like, "That's when I saw it." He's like, "A mom who would die for her son, a man who would kill for his wife."
hmm
And, and like what does he say? Something like, "In a boy who," like something like continues the cycle or something like that, where it's like he knows that if Sarah dies, that's what triggers the Rainmaker to be the Rainmaker.
hmm
And so he realizes that the only thing he can do to end this entire cycle is like wild shit. He has to end up just killing himself. Young Joe does
Well,
through a race.
it's not the only thing he could have done, right? Like he could have blasted his finger off to where old boy wasn't getting. He was almost. Sid was almost through that cornfield.
I mean you're right.
So
But
take your finger off. He wouldn't have been able to pull the trigger. You just got to buy yourself a couple seconds here.
I see what you're saying. You're not saying he would shoot old Joe's finger off. He just got to blow his own finger off.
Exactly,
Yeah.
Yeah.
because we
It's
You know
seen
one
it.
funny.
thing.
We seen it with Seth. How whatever like
That's,
happens to you,
that's so funny. I was
that
It
like,
is.
Yeah, that's a great way of looking at that. You're absolutely right.
I was
that's
thinking
so
because
funny.
again I don't remember what happened. I was like, oh, he's gonna shoot his finger off. It's gonna be a happy ending. Fuck no, he went extreme.
At
But
first, I thought you were saying shoot old Joe's finger off, and I was like, he's got the blunderbuss, dude. He's not going to reach him. And then I'm like, his own finger?
Yeah.
Yeah,
um
Oh.
one thing I this really played out to me is that whenever Jesse, you're talking about the scene where he's like, I saw a mom that would, die for her son and everything. We see him on the train, and he said a boy angry and alone because literally that was Joe when he was a kid as well.
Yeah.
He told him, he's
hmm
like, I jumped on a train, I was all alone, and he just like he saw himself. He kind of connected in
Yeah.
that way.
And I think more so with the riding the train thing. To me, it's not that he saw himself as him riding the train. He gave him the idea when they were
Yeah,
hmm
underneath in the tunnel. He's the
Talking.
whole
He.
reason
yeah,
that he was going to do those things. Like I wanted
Yep.
to
you're
take a gun
absolutely
and go
right.
kill everybody responsible. And so it was like Sid or young Joe talking to Sid about it gave him the entire idea to do the Rainmaker thing. And so he realized that if he ends the cycle here, and he should have blown off his finger, I think that he should have, but he ends up killing himself to end the
Yep.
entire cycle.
yep.
Why didn't I see this? See, this is why we got to watch. I'm glad that we're talking about this because you're absolutely right. Like just like Joe wanted to kill all the drug dealers because of his mom, he wants
Yes.
to kill all the loopers because of dude.
Yeah.
God damn it! See, this is what I'm. Man, okay,
It's heavy.
And
freaking out over here, man.
and so she ends up finding Joe had killed himself, young Joe, and Sarah goes over there, and I thought this shot was so sweet, but she ends up caressing his hair just like his mom used to do. And I was just like, she didn't even know about that. And so she did it, and it was like, it's
Yeah,
so bittersweet. Like that if he could have wound up with Sarah, he probably would have got all these things he wanted, but
exactly.
he knew that he had to just end the cycle. So,
And then also she finds in the back of that truck was a whole lot of silver.
and they also she closes his pocket watch as a way of being like your time's up kind of
It's
thing. So
done. That was a great film.
Thank you
Yeah.
so much for the recommendation. I'm so
Yes.
glad we
yeah,
got to watch that again.
thank you, Mr. Corey Jones. That was incredible. He,
Thank you. Thank you.
I told him, I was like, hey, why didn't you pick Tombstone? Because that's like his favorite movie. And he's like, I just don't think there's enough to talk about. And I was like, that better be your next pick. There's plenty to talk about
Please,
in Tombstone.
exactly. Please
Tombstone.
pick Kingstone or something like that. Keep giving us suggestions.
For sure. And that goes for everybody. Fucking let us know. We need the suggestions. We like doing that. That was an awesome movie to review. So thank you. Blaine, do you have any fun facts for us?
Oh, I do. I got some fun facts. I got some budget breakdown. Let's talk about it. All right. So, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, Joe, falling off the fire escape, was actually filmed on the actor's 30th birthday. So it was Joseph Gordon-Levitt's 30th birthday. So what they actually did is they left his ass hanging on the stunt wires, and the whole entire crew sang happy birthday to him and wheeled out a birthday cake as he was hanging up there.
That's
That is
amazing.
awesome.
That's funny.
Next thing we have here is according to director Rian Johnson. So Noah Segan, the guy who played Kid Blue, took several classes to learn how to spin the gun around in his finger. Johnson told Entertainment Weekly that he actually filmed it numerous times, or I should say numerous takes, so he can spin in the 4-pound gun, but ended up using the one where he nearly dropped it because Johnson thought it was funny and like actually made a lot of sense. And I think
I
that's
agree.
great. I love when they think about that. He's like, he's still a newbie. If he was doing this perfectly, it just wouldn't be as good.
Yeah, and
It's
it
that whole
matches.
director's eye.
Yeah, and it matches with Kid Blue's whole just wanting to be the best,
Yeah,
living up to somebody's standards, and then he fails right there, spinning again.
exactly. So Emily Blunt actually revealed that she agreed to star in this movie after reading just half the script. She didn't even know who her character was, but she wanted to be part of this movie. Um, and the diner that was built, it was actually built in the small town of Thibodaux, Louisiana. So that's about 60 miles west of New Orleans. So this diner, like it says, the diner interior and exterior scenes, it looks so real. The locals saw that diner and kept asking the film crew when the new diner was going to open. So it kind of reminds us of Clerks too. I mean, they thought that was a real place. But what was really cool is they actually left it there after filming was completed, and the director later said that it was still standing after Hurricane Isaac moved through September 2012. It was then eventually torn down in March of 2014. So it lasted. It was a prop set, but it lasted. We already kind of talked about this. The film takes place in 2044 and 2074. So we keep talking about the guns. So the incredibly large Gat pistol are actually production firearms and not just a prop created for the film. So it is a Magnum Research BFR, which stands for Big Frame Revolver, chambered in a 45 caliber to 70 caliber government. I say, yeah, government. So a rifle round originally adopted by the U.S. military in 1873. And the BFR weighs roughly 4.5 pounds. Heck yeah. So we also kind of touched on this. Joseph went through a big transformation in this role. So this actually involved applying silicone pieces to his jaw, lip, nose, and brow, along with color contacts and even brow shaping to match Willis's facial structure. He also actually adjusted his voice to mimic Willis's raspy tone. Rather than just changing that physical appearance, he really wanted to make it as real as possible as being the younger version of Bruce Willis. All right, so budget and box office. This movie took estimated around $30 million. That was the budget for this movie. So worldwide, this movie made 176,506,819. So a little bit of breakdown from that. Domestic, it was $66,486. Sorry, 486,205. International, it was 110,020,614. And opening weekend sprawled 20,801,552.
Wow.
To kind of back that up as well, home media DVD was estimated around 21 million. Blu-ray was kind of around 12.5 million. So overall gross, if we take the $30 million to make this movie, along with everything that it accumulated, this movie made about $180 million for all sales. And that's what I got for our fun facts and budget breakdown of Looper 2012.
Awesome. Hell yeah. We want to rank it?
Yes.
Let's get into the ranks.
I can go first. Again, I don't know why I've only watched this movie one time. Super fun. I think it is a bit long. I think if they took 20 to 30 minutes out of this movie, it would be perfect. That's just me. With that being said, I'm gonna give this a 6.9. 6.9.
All right, so I agree. Some of the parts were kind of slow. Overall, I thought the concept and story was it was super cool and original. Like, we see all this crap constantly getting remade. This was an original story. Love the action sequences, love the kind of subtle play of futuristic mixed with modern. So overall, I gave this movie, I'm gonna go up a little bit. I'm gonna say an 8.1 for me.
Yeah. I mean, I'm gonna give this movie a solid 8. It's probably one of the more original sci-fi, and also I feel like there's a good way to do like psychic telekinetic powers in films, and there's a shitty way to do it. I think this one nailed it. Just original story. Emily Blunt just seems to be a huge fan of sci-fi in general, and she puts her heart and soul into. She doesn't pick bad movies to be in, and so yeah, I'm gonna give this one a solid 8 out of 10.
I'm gonna go pretty high with this one because if I compare it to other genre films like it, I think it's pretty high up there for me. I'm gonna give it a 9.
All right, that will give us a final score of just a solid 8, which is under The Gentleman and above Dangerous Lives. Very cool, awesome movie.
Yeah,
Yeah, a lot of fun. I'll definitely watch it again.
Thank you for the comment and the suggestion. If you guys want to see more of this, please leave us a different movie you guys want us to check out, and we'll review it.
Hell yeah.
absolutely.
And then don't forget to tune in for next week's movie review. You guys ready for this?
Please.
With this one, this movie was kind of heavy, so I wanted to lighten it up a little bit. I'm going to go with Detroit Rock City.
Fuck yes!
Nice.
Dude, what a great pick.
Yeah.
Oh, so
Hopefully you guys
good.
haven't
Hell
watched
yeah.
that too recently.
I think I watched it like 5 years ago.
Okay.
I will only watch it if Jesse recreates the stripper scene.
I mean, I got no problem doing that. And this dude, and this movie has so many like stars that you're like, oh, he's big now, or I remember him.
Hell yeah.
What a great pick.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm so excited.
It's one of my favorite movies to just throw on. You don't have to sit there and pay so much close attention to it. It's just fun. It's funny. It's a bunch of bros. Yeah, I love
I'm
this
like,
movie. I'm excited to
I'm like,
dive
fi-
into it.
I'm like, I'm fighting the urge to talk about it right now.
Yeah.
We're gonna enjoy 2 hours of talking about 4 guys going to see Kiss, man. This is gonna
Hell
be
yeah.
fucking awesome.
Exactly. So yeah, tune in next week. Appreciate it, guys. That's another episode of the Gunks podcast. Woo!
Until next time.
Later, y'all.